Italy is preparing for the second phase of easing Europe's longest nationwide coronavirus lockdown. Starting May 4th, factories, construction sites, and parks will reopen. Italians will be able to visit family and exercise outside, respecting social distancing. However, Italian bishops are not happy that churches will remain closed, with the exception of funerals of up to 15 people in attendance. Andrea Gagliarducci, Vatican Analyst for EWTN News, joins us now from Rome by Skype. Andrea, welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me.
Andrea, what is the Italian bishop's criticism, and then what is the Italian government's response?
Well, Italian bishops criticized the government decision not to allow the celebration of public masses with the audience, masses with people, in the last provisions, because during the last 2 weeks there have been ongoing negotiations between the Italian Bishops' Conference and the government. Italian Bishops' Conference just accepted all the measures of the government. They did not even ask to respect the freedom of worship because they understood that it was an emergency situation. But it was an emergency situation, and when the phase 2 of the response to coronavirus was approaching, the bishops started an ongoing negotiations. And they had promises from the government. They said, well, we're going step by step to allow again people to gather to Mass. But this didn't happen. They said that until May 18th, the masses will not be possible with public again. And so the bishops criticized the decision, and they said it's an attack to the freedom of worship. It's the first time ever they take this stance, but it's because there was a sort of breach in the negotiations. The government said, well, let's talk about that. Now negotiations have been restored. Perhaps there will be, masses will be allowed 1 week in advance, perhaps in May the 10th, but still we don't know.
Andrea, why do you think the Italian Bishops' Conference is reacting now and not when the government banned religious services early on in March?
Well, as I said, because they wanted to accept all the decisions with sense of responsibility. And I also think that they thought that this situation was going to be shorter than what expected. Actually, it was, in my view, a mistake, because you need at least to have a formal recognition of the freedom of worship. There have been other negotiations in other countries where the freedom of worship was formally recognized, and then the churches did not allow so many people to get into to go to the masses. So there was some possibility, but the Italian bishops decided to appeal totally to the Italian government as a sign of mutual trust, I would say. Now they come now, and it's kind of late.
Can you talk about the relationship between the Vatican and the Italian government?
Well, as you know, Italy has a concordate with the Holy See. In fact, it's astonishing that the Holy See did not speak. The Holy See just left the Italian bishops to have the negotiations with the government. But actually, there is a concordate, and this concordate, which was signed back in 1929 and then was revisioned and amended in 1984, so it's kind of a modern agreement, it also includes the freedom of worship. So no state can tell the church not to have public gatherings. There is not a possibility. The freedom of worship is not just the freedom of the priest to celebrate Mass, but it's also the freedom of people to go to the masses, to go to the places of worship, which was affected in these measures anti-coronavirus. The relation has always been kind of good, with some ups and downs, I would say. Mostly now the negotiations, the talks are based on family issues, economic issues, and less on principles.
Andrea, quickly, we don't have a lot of time, but I'm wondering, do you think we can expect some churches in Italy to reopen by May 4th?
I don't think so at the moment. As I said, we're expecting it for May 10th in this moment. But actually, the churches are open. It's just impossible to go to the churches or to go without a reason. And one of the motives, among the motives, is not included the possibility to pray. You need to find an excuse.
Well, Andrea, thank you so much for joining us in your time. Please stay safe. Andrea Gagliarducci, Vatican Analyst for EWTN News. Thanks again.
Thank you.